I'm, yeah, I'm just making a sandwich right now. What about you?
I was making a sandwich. That's what I was doing when my marriage ended. Thursday afternoon, I'd taken the day off because I had PTO to burn before the end of the year, and I was standing in our kitchen spreading mayo on wheat bread. Rachel had been on me about eating healthier, so I was using turkey instead of roast beef. Small compromise. Marriage is small compromises. My phone buzzed on the counter. Rachel's name. I smiled, wiped my hands on my jeans, and answered. Hey, babe. Nothing, just muffled sounds, fabric rustling. But dial, I thought, happens. I was about to hang up when I heard her laugh, that specific laugh she does when she's genuinely delighted by something. I used to hear it a lot. Hadn't heard it in a while, if I'm honest. I've missed this, she said. I stood there, mayo still on my thumb, thinking she somehow knew I'd answered, that she was talking to me. Then I heard the other voice, a man's laugh, familiar. We need to be more careful, Kevin, she said. He's getting suspicious. Kevin. My brother Kevin. The call lasted 47 seconds total. I know because I checked the log later, over and over. 47 seconds. That's all it took to dismantle 12 years of marriage and 34 years of brotherhood. I didn't hang up, the call just ended. She must have shifted, hit the button again. I stood in my kitchen for I don't know how long. The turkey was still in my hand. I remember thinking very clearly I should put this in the fridge, it'll go bad. That's what my brain focused on, turkey, refrigeration, because the other thing was too big to look at directly. I need to go back. You can't understand what that phone call destroyed unless you understand what existed before it. I met Rachel at a mutual friend's birthday party in 2011. I was 26, she was 24. I wasn't looking for anything serious. I just gotten out of a 2-year relationship that ended because, according to my ex, I wasn't emotionally available. She was probably right. I was working 60-hour weeks at a logistics company trying to prove myself, and I'd come home exhausted with nothing left to give. But Rachel? She was arguing with someone about whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie, and she was so passionate about it, so certain it absolutely was, and I just watched her. She caught me staring and said, "You got an opinion, or are you just going to stand there looking confused?" I said Die Hard was definitely a Christmas movie. She said, "Finally, someone with sense," and that was it. Our first date was Applebee's. I know, not fancy, but she suggested it. Said she wanted to see if I was the kind of guy who'd judge her for ordering mozzarella sticks as an appetizer and with her meal. I wasn't. I ordered the same thing. We got married 3 years later, small ceremony, 60 people. Kevin was my best man. Kevin, my older brother by 4 years. We weren't super close growing up. He was always the golden child, the one who got straight A's and varsity letters while I struggled to maintain a B average and quit every sport I tried. But we'd gotten closer in our 20s. He was at our wedding giving a speech about how I'd finally grown into a decent human being, and everyone laughed. I laughed. The first few years of marriage were good. Not perfect. We argued about money, about how often we visited her parents versus mine, about the fact that I left wet towels on the bed. Normal stuff. We bought a house in 2016, a little 3-bedroom in the suburbs, the kind of place where you imagine raising kids. We tried for kids. That's where things started to crack, though I didn't see it clearly until later. Rachel had 2 miscarriages, the first one at 8 weeks, the second at 11. The second one almost broke us. She went somewhere inside herself that I couldn't reach. I tried, I really tried. I'd hold her and she'd go stiff, like my touch was uncomfortable. She started sleeping in the guest room. "I just need space to process," she said. I gave her space, maybe too much. Maybe I was relieved to have the distance. I threw myself into work, got promoted, then promoted again. I was traveling a lot, 3-4 days a week sometimes. She said she understood. She said it was fine. Was I a perfect husband? No, I know that now. I know I retreated when things got hard. I know I prioritized work because work felt controllable in a way grief didn't. I know there were nights I came home and she'd clearly been crying and I'd ask, "You okay?" And she'd say fine, and I'd accept that answer because I didn't have the energy for what the real answer might require. But I loved her. That's what I kept coming back to, standing in that kitchen with turkey in my hand. I loved her, and somehow that hadn't been enough. Kevin and I had what I'd call a functional relationship. We weren't the kind of brothers who called each other every week, but we'd show up for birthdays, holidays, the occasional football game. He'd been divorced himself. His first marriage lasted 4 years, ended when she cheated on him with a coworker. The irony of that isn't lost on me now. After his divorce, Kevin was around more. He'd come over for dinner sometimes, hang out on our back porch drinking beer while Rachel made something in the kitchen. I didn't think anything of it. He was my brother, she was my wife. The geometry seemed simple. There were signs, I think, looking back. There are always signs you ignore because seeing them would mean seeing something you don't want to see. Like the way Rachel started bringing up Kevin in conversation. Little things. Kevin said the funniest thing yesterday. Kevin thinks we should try that new Thai place. When had they been talking so much? I asked once casually. Oh, he texts sometimes when he's bored at work, she said. You know how he is. I thought I did. Or the time Kevin got weirdly defensive when I made a joke about him being single. Some of us are just waiting for the right person, he said, and I could have sworn he glanced at Rachel, but I told myself I was imagining things. Or how Rachel started going to the gym more often, buying new clothes, caring about her appearance in a way she hadn't in years. I thought she was finally coming out of the depression fog after the miscarriages. I was happy for her, supportive even. You look great, I'd tell her, and she'd smile, but it never quite reached her eyes. I miss so much. Or I saw it and chose not to see it. I still don't know which is worse. Let me tell you exactly what I heard in those 47 seconds, because I've replayed it so many times it's carved into my brain. First, just rustling, movement, the inside of a pocket or purse. Then her laugh, light, easy, the laugh of someone who is completely relaxed. I've missed this, soft, almost a whisper. A man's voice, muffled but distinguishable, me too. That's when my chest tightened, because I knew that voice. I'd known it my whole life. Her, clearer now, we need to be more careful, Kevin, he's getting suspicious. Him, is he's barely home. Her sighing, I know, but still, last weekend was too close. Last weekend? What happened last weekend? I'd been in Cincinnati for work. She said she stayed home, watched movies, went to bed early. Him, we could just. Her, don't you know we can't, not yet. Not yet, like there was a timeline, like they'd discussed this. Him laughing, you're so serious when you're. And then it cut off, just silence, my phone screen still showing Rachel 047. I stood there, the turkey, the mayo, the morning light coming through the window, everything exactly the same as it had been 1 minute before, everything completely different. My first thought, and I'm ashamed of this, was maybe I misheard, maybe it was a TV show. Maybe Kevin has a friend named Kevin. My brain scrambled for any explanation that wasn't the obvious one. Then I thought, call her back, ask where she is, see if she lies. I couldn't, my hands were shaking too hard to dial. I put the sandwich stuff away, I don't know why, just did it, autopilot, turkey in the drawer, bread in the bread box, mayo in the fridge door. Then I sat on the couch, and I didn't move for 3 hours. I should have confronted her that night, that's what people expect, right? The dramatic scene, slamming the phone down, demanding answers. I didn't. Rachel came home around 6:30. Hey babe, she said, same as always, kissed my cheek. Sorry I'm late, traffic was insane. Where were you? Yoga. Then I stopped at Target, needed shampoo. I looked at her, really looked, trying to see the person who'd said my brother's name in that voice. She looked normal, same Rachel, same tired smile, same slight slouch from carrying her bag. How was your day off? She asked. Fine. Did you eat? Made a sandwich. She nodded, headed to the kitchen. I watched her go, watched her open the fridge, grab a yogurt, check her phone, laugh at something she read. Who was she texting? I felt insane. I felt like I was watching someone I'd never met before, wearing my wife's face, going through the motions of a life that was apparently a performance. I didn't sleep that night. She did, curled up on her side of the bed, breathing steady, peaceful. I lay there thinking, how can she sleep? How is she not drowning in guilt? But people compartmentalize. I've learned that since. People can love two people at once, betray someone and still care about them, do terrible things and still sleep soundly because they've convinced themselves it's justified. I needed to know more before I said anything. That's what I told myself. Really, I was just scared. Scared that confronting her would make it real. As long as I didn't say it out loud, some part of me could still pretend it was a misunderstanding. I started paying attention. Her phone, she'd always been careless with it, leaving it on the counter unlocked. Now I noticed she kept it close, face down, took it to the bathroom even when she was just brushing her teeth. When she'd answer a text, I'd watch her face, looking for that smile, looking for the softening around her eyes that meant she was talking to someone who made her happy. I checked our phone bill, easy enough. We shared an account. I found Kevin's number in her call log, 47 calls in the past month, some over an hour long. They'd talk while I was at work, while I was traveling. I felt sick. I found excuses to come home early. Once I said I had a headache, left work at 2 p.m. Her car wasn't in the driveway. She'd said she was working from home that day. I drove around. I don't know what I was looking for. Kevin's apartment was across town. I didn't go there. I wasn't ready to see it, to catch them. Some part of me still wanted to be wrong. I started a note on my phone, dates and times, things she said that didn't add up. October 3rd said she was at Megan's. Megan posted on Instagram, wine night with completely different people, Rachel not in any photos. October 7th said she was working late. Came home smelling like cologne, not mine. October 12th, Kevin canceled on our mom's birthday dinner last minute. Rachel seemed disappointed, then caught herself. The evidence accumulated, each piece was small, together they were damning. But I still hadn't confronted her. 2 weeks had passed since the phone call, 2 weeks of lying next to a stranger, kissing her goodnight, asking about her day like I didn't know. I was performing too, I realized. We were both pretending. The only difference was I knew we were pretending. I finally told Marcus, my best friend since college. We met at a bar near his office, somewhere Rachel would never go. I need to tell you something, I said, and I need you to not react until I'm done. I told him everything, the phone call, the phone bill, the lies. By the end, he was gripping his beer so hard I thought the glass would shatter. Kevin, he said, your brother Kevin. Yeah. Jesus Christ. We sat in silence. The bar noise around us, laughter, sports commentary, glasses clinking, normal sounds in a normal world. I didn't live in that world anymore. What are you going to do? Marcus asked. I don't know. You have to confront her. I know. You want me there. I shook my head. This needs to be just us. He looked at me for a long moment. How are you even functioning right now? I thought about it. I don't think I am. I think I'm just going through motions, like my body knows how to act normal even though my brain has stopped working. Marcus nodded slowly. Are you going to talk to Kevin? Eventually, after I talk to her. Do you think he hesitated. Do you think they're in love, or is this just? I'd been avoiding that question. Was this a fling, a mistake, or something deeper? The way she said not yet, I said, like there was a plan, like they were waiting for something, waiting for. I couldn't finish. Waiting for what? For me to die, for enough time to pass that leaving wouldn't look connected. I'm so sorry, man. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. This is so messed up. It is. I picked a Saturday. I waited until the house was clean, until we'd had coffee, until everything was calm. I don't know why that mattered. Some part of me wanted our last normal morning to be peaceful. We need to talk, I said. She looked up from her book. About what? I pulled out my phone, played the voicemail I'd saved. I'd figured out how to save it as a file, paranoid it would disappear somehow. Her voice filled the kitchen. We need to be more careful, Kevin, he's getting suspicious. I watched her face, the color draining out, the book slipping from her fingers. Where did you? You but dialed me October 3rd, 47 seconds. She opened her mouth, closed it. For the first time in weeks I saw the performance drop. Underneath was just fear. It's not, she started. Please don't tell me it's not what it sounds like. Silence stretched between us, the refrigerator hummed, a car passed outside. How long? I asked. She didn't answer. Rachel, how long? 8 months, barely a whisper. 8 months of lies, of working late and yoga class and just grabbing coffee with Megan. Why? My voice cracked on the word. I hated that. She looked at the table. I don't know how to explain it. Try. After the second miscarriage I felt so empty, and you were gone all the time, and Kevin was here and he listened, and one day it just what just happened, like gravity, like you had no choice. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? She was crying now. I wasn't. I felt frozen, watching myself have this conversation from somewhere outside my body. I'm saying I was lonely, I'm saying I was broken, and he made me feel like a person again. So this is my fault. No, that's not. You slept with my brother because I worked too much, because I didn't grieve correctly, that's what you're telling me. I'm telling you what happened, I'm not saying it was right. I stood up, sat down, stood up again, I didn't know what to do with my body. Do you love him? She hesitated, that hesitation said everything. I don't know, she finally said. I think I might. I'm sorry, I know that's not what you want to hear. What I want, I said very slowly, is to wake up and have the last 8 months not exist. Can you give me that? She shook her head, crying harder now. Then I don't really care what you think you might feel. I walked out, got in my car, drove to Kevin's apartment. He answered the door in sweatpants and a college t-shirt. Hey, what are you doing here? Casual, smiling. Either he didn't know I knew or he was a better actor than I'd given him credit for. Can I come in? Yeah, of course. His apartment was messy, dishes in the sink, laundry on the couch. I'd been here 100 times, watching football, having beers, being brothers. Rachel told me, I said, no preamble, just dropped it. His face changed slowly, like watching ice melt. She told you what? Don't do that, don't make me say it. He sat down on the arm of his couch, ran his hand through his hair, a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times. Our dad does the same thing. I didn't plan this, he said. I don't care. I know that doesn't make it better, but... You're right, it doesn't. I stood across the room from him, arms crossed, trying to keep myself contained, because part of me wanted to hit him, part of me wanted to break things, but a bigger part was just exhausted. She came to me after the second miscarriage, he said. You were traveling and she was falling apart and I was there. So you comforted her into your bed. It wasn't like that at first, we just talked, for months just talked. And then... He looked at the floor, and then it became something else. 8 months, I said, 8 months of lying to my face, coming to family dinners, being my brother. I know. You were my best man, Kevin. I know. Do you actually understand what you've done? He looked up, his eyes were wet. I hate myself for this, I've hated myself every single day. But not enough to stop. Silence. She's going to leave me, I said. Isn't she? That's the plan, that's what not yet meant. He didn't answer, didn't have to. We were going to wait, he finally said, until it seemed less suspicious. I laughed, actually laughed. Less suspicious, like there's a timeline where this looks okay, where you and Rachel showing up together at Thanksgiving doesn't make everyone want to vomit. I know you're angry. I'm not angry, Kevin. Angry doesn't cover this. I don't have a word for what I am. I walked to the door, stopped, turned back. Does Mom know? No. She's going to have to find out. I know. And you're going to tell her, not me, you and Rachel. You're going to look her in the eyes and explain why 2 of her children's marriages are now wreckage because you couldn't keep your hands off my wife. He flinched at that. Good. I don't want to see you again, I said. Not for a long time, maybe not ever. I need you to understand that. Okay. Okay, I nodded. Okay. I left, sat in my car in his parking lot for 20 minutes. Didn't cry, didn't punch the steering wheel, just sat there staring at a crack in my windshield I'd been meaning to fix. The next few weeks were chaos. Rachel moved out, stayed with a friend, not Kevin, at least not at first. We had painful, awkward conversations about logistics, who gets the house, how to split accounts, what to tell people. My mom found out, not from Kevin, he couldn't do it. Rachel told her. I don't know what she said exactly, but my mom called me that night sobbing, apologizing like she'd somehow caused this. I don't understand, she kept saying. Kevin and Rachel, how did I miss this? We all missed it, Mom. I'm so sorry, baby, I'm so sorry. What do you say to that? Your mother apologizing for your brother's betrayal. I told her it wasn't her fault. Told her I'd be okay, wasn't sure either thing was true. My dad's reaction was different, quiet. He called Kevin and apparently said something that made Kevin not speak to either parent for 2 months. I never asked what. Work was impossible. I'd be in meetings talking about shipping logistics and suddenly remember, my wife slept with my brother. The thought would just appear like a pop-up ad I couldn't close. I started making mistakes. My boss noticed. I took a leave of absence. I moved into a hotel for a while, couldn't stay in the house. Everything reminded me of her, of them. The couch where Kevin sat during football games. The kitchen where I'd made that sandwich. The bed where she'd slept peacefully while betraying me. Marcus let me crash at his place after the hotel got too expensive. His wife wasn't thrilled they had a kid, a routine, but she understood, sort of. I wasn't a good house guest. I barely slept. I'd pace at night. I'd hear a phone buzz and flinch. The worst part was the random triggers, a commercial with a happy couple, someone's brother-in-law joke at work, a song Rachel used to sing in the shower. I'd be fine, 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 and then suddenly underwater. Divorce took 11 months. 11 months of lawyers, paperwork, dividing assets. We'd never gotten around to having kids, which simplified things. But we'd built a life together, furniture, savings, a home. Untangling it was like performing surgery on myself. I saw Rachel once during the process at the lawyer's office. She looked different, thinner, tired. Part of me felt satisfied, part of me worried about her. I hated both parts of myself. How are you doing? She asked. Seriously. She looked down. I still care about you. I know you don't believe that. I don't. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't help, but I am. It doesn't. We signed papers. We divided things. We became legally untangled from each other. 12 years compressed into signature boxes. Kevin and Rachel are together now. That's the part people ask about. Yes, they're together. They moved to Portland, far enough away that I don't have to see them. Far enough that holidays with my parents are possible again as long as they stay away. My mom still talks to Kevin. I don't ask about those conversations. She tries to tell me sometimes. Kevin says, and I cut her off. I don't want to know, Mom. She respects that mostly. Christmas last year, my aunt asked where Kevin was. The silence that followed was thick enough to swim through. He couldn't make it, my mom said. Again, 3rd year in a row. Is everything okay with him? Everything's fine, my dad said, voice tight, subject closed. That's my family now. half-truths and avoided topics and silences that carry whole histories. I started therapy, stopped after 3 months, felt like I was paying someone to watch me cry, started again a year later with a different therapist. Better fit, still going. My therapist says I have trust issues. No kidding. She says I need to separate what Rachel did from what future partners might do. Intellectually, I understand that. Emotionally, it's different. I went on a date 18 months post-divorce. Nice woman, friend of Marcus's wife. We got dinner, she laughed at my jokes. I spent the whole meal wondering if she was lying to me about what I didn't know, but the suspicion was just there, constant static. I drove her home, she invited me in for coffee. I said I had an early morning, her face fell slightly, she knew it was a rejection. I felt guilty, still couldn't do it. I tried again 6 months later, different woman, same result, I'm 2 in my head, 2 waiting for the other shoe to drop. My therapist says healing isn't linear. Good days, bad days, sometimes you feel like you've moved on and then something small, a smell, a song, a random memory drags you right back. 2 years out now, here's where I am. I can think about Rachel without my chest tightening, most days. I can hear Kevin's name without wanting to leave the room, usually. I've stopped replaying that phone call obsessively. It's down to maybe once a week instead of every night. I still check my phone more than I should, still notice when people put their phones face down, still have moments where I wonder if everyone around me is performing the way Rachel performed. The trust thing is the hardest part, not just romantic trust, all of it. I find myself waiting for friends to betray me, watching for signs. My brother was my brother for 34 years and I didn't see who he really was. How can I trust anyone? I'm working on it. Some days that work feels pointless, other days it feels like progress. People ask if I've forgiven them. I never know how to answer that. I've stopped being angry every day. Is that forgiveness or just exhaustion? I've accepted that Rachel wasn't a monster. She was a person who was hurting and made a terrible choice, multiple terrible choices, over and over. But still a person, not a monster. Same with Kevin. Does understanding make it hurt less? Not really, but it makes the world make more sense. Good people do bad things. People you love can destroy you. These things exist simultaneously. I got a text from Kevin a few months ago, I know you don't want to hear from me, just wanted to say I'm sorry, still, always. I stared at it for an hour, didn't respond, don't know if I ever will. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if she hadn't but dialed me. Would they have eventually confessed? Would I have figured it out some other way? Or would I have just kept living in that marriage, oblivious, until they decided it was time to detonate my life on their schedule? I don't know, maybe it's better I found out accidentally. At least I wasn't on their timeline, at least that one thing was mine. I'm 38 now, divorced, estranged from my only sibling, living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a couch I picked out myself and curtains Marcus's wife helped me choose because I had no idea what I was doing. It's quiet, sometimes too quiet, but it's honest. No performances, no wondering what's real. That's something I think. If you've been through something like this, the double betrayal, the family destruction, the feeling that you can't trust your own judgment anymore, I need to know, does it get better? Like actually better? Or do you just learn to carry it differently? Because some days I feel like I'm healing. And other days I feel like I'm still in that kitchen, mayo on my fingers, listening to my wife say my brother's name. Drop a comment if you've been here, I could use the company. And if you're watching this in the middle of your own nightmare, still in the discovery phase, still trying to make sense of it, I'm sorry, it's going to be hard, harder than you think, but you'll survive it. I don't know how, but you will. Take care of yourselves.